Welcome to Biligoloji, where we decode the latest breakthroughs in science. What if I told you that 95% of our universe is a complete mystery, and the answer might be hiding in the corpse of a universe that died before ours was even born? Today, we're not just looking at one discovery. Nope, we're looking at four that are literally rewriting the fundamental rules of existence, from the entire cosmos all the way down to our own DNA.
So let's start with this massive question. We've all been taught that everything, and I mean everything, started with the Big Bang, a single explosive moment that kicked off time itself. But what if that wasn't the real beginning? What if it was just a bounce?
And that's the first rule we're challenging today. A brand new cosmological framework is suggesting our universe might have emerged from the ashes of a previous one. And look, this isn't just a fun thought experiment. It's a serious theory that tries to solve some of the biggest, thorniest problems in all of physics. See, right at the heart of the Big Bang model, there's this huge problem, the singularity. According to Einstein's relativity, everything we see was once squeezed into an infinitely dense point. But for physicists, infinity isn't an answer. It's a giant flashing warning sign. It's the point where all our math breaks down and physics just stops making sense. It's basically the universe telling us, hey, your theory is missing something. And this slide just perfectly lays out the alternative. On the left, you've got the standard model with that impossible singularity. But on the right, you have what's called bouncing cosmology. In this picture, a previous universe contracts under its own gravity, but instead of collapsing into infinity, quantum effects take over. It hits an unbelievably high but finite density, and then it rebounds, bouncing into the expanding universe we live in today. No singularity, no broken physics. It's a much cleaner picture. Now, here's where this idea gets really exciting, because it might solve another giant mystery: dark matter. We know there's this invisible glue holding entire galaxies together, but we have absolutely no idea what it is. For decades, the leading theory has been some undiscovered particle, but we've searched and found nothing. This new paper suggests something way more radical. What if dark matter is just made of ancient black holes that actually survive the bounce from that previous universe? And I mean, think about it. They fit the profile perfectly. They don't give off light, and they have mass. That's exactly what dark matter needs to be. According to this new model, any structures larger than about 90 meters could have actually made it through that cosmic bounce. And that means black holes from the old universe could still be out there right now, shaping our own galaxies from the shadows.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. The James Webb Space Telescope is right now spotting these little red dots, objects in the very early universe that are way, way too massive to have formed so quickly after the Big Bang. It just doesn't add up. But what if they didn't have to start from scratch? What if they grew from massive black hole seeds that were already there right after the bounce? Suddenly it all starts to make sense. We might already be seeing the ghosts of a universe that existed long before our own.
Okay, let's pull way back. We're going to zoom in from the scale of the entire cosmos down to the microscopic. We're looking at the very building blocks of life itself, where another fundamental rule is getting totally shattered. According to a new MIT study published in the journal eLife, the membrane surrounding our cells isn't just a passive bag, it's an active electric switch that can actually drive diseases like cancer. So to get this, we need to talk about a protein called EGFR. Just think of it like a light switch for cell growth. Normally, a very specific signal molecule has to come along and flip this switch to on, telling the cell it's time to divide. But in a lot of cancers, this switch gets jammed in the on position, and that leads to the out-of-control growth that forms tumors. Now, this is the big discovery the MIT team made. They found that the composition of the cell membrane itself can flip that switch. Just look at this slide. In a normal cell membrane, you have about 15% negatively charged lipids, and the growth switch works just like it's supposed to. But when they made membranes with 60% negative lipids, a condition you often see in cancer cells, that EGFR switch became permanently locked on. It didn't matter if the signal was there or not. So here's the kicker. The membrane itself is doing the dirty work. That high negative charge physically forces the receptor protein into an active shape. It completely bypasses the normal safety checks and creates this constant, unstoppable growth signal. The container has become the controller. It's rewriting a fundamental rule of how our cells are supposed to work. But believe it or not, we can go even deeper. Let's go from the cell membrane to the very code of life itself, DNA. A study out of Stanford University, just published in the journal Science, has found something that biology textbooks have said for decades is just impossible. Okay, so here's the rule we all learned in high school biology. To make DNA, you need a template, right? You need another strand of DNA or RNA. An enzyme comes along, reads the template, and builds a new strand using these strict base pairing rules. A always with T, G always with C. But this bacterial defense system, called DRT3, just throws that entire rulebook out the window. It builds a brand new strand of DNA using a protein as the template. There's no base pairing. It's all based on the shape of amino acids. And don't just take my word for it. The study's senior author, Alex Gao, put it very bluntly. This is a fundamentally new way that life produces DNA. That's a huge statement. It's a major shift away from the central dogma of biology, which has always said that information flows from DNA to protein, not the other way around. So, how on earth does this work? Well, it is truly mind-bending. There's this unusual enzyme called DROT3B, and it has a special region, its active site, where the amino acids are arranged in such a way that they physically mimic the shape of a normal DNA template. The enzyme is literally using a part of itself as the blueprint to build a new DNA strand from scratch. The protein is the code. Okay, let's zoom back out. We're going from the molecular level to the most complex object we know of in the entire universe, the human brain. Our final rule-breaking discovery, also just published in Science, challenges our simplistic ideas about brain differences and gets right to the heart of why some diseases affect us so differently. It's a well-established medical fact that the risks for certain neurological conditions are different depending on biological sex. As you can see in this table, conditions like schizophrenia and ADHD are more common in males, while Alzheimer's and mood disorders are more prevalent in females. The big question has always been, what is the biological reason for this? Now, before you jump to any conclusions, look at this slide. This is where things get really interesting. When researchers analyzed over 1 million individual brain cells, they found that biological sex accounts for less than 1% of all the variation in gene expression in the brain. Let me say that again, less than 1%. The variation within any group of males or within any group of females is massively greater than the average difference between them. So we're not talking about broad, sweeping differences here. We're talking about something far more subtle. And here's the key takeaway. While that overall difference is tiny, the study identified over 100 genes that showed consistent but very subtle differences in their activity levels. And researchers think these small shifts could be the molecular handle they've been looking for to understand why disease risks vary. This isn't about reinforcing stereotypes. This is about finding crucial biological clues that could lead to better, more personalized medicine that helps everyone. So, what have we seen? From the birth of the entire cosmos to the intricate workings of our own minds, we've looked at 4 foundational pillars of science that are getting a serious shakeup. Each one of these discoveries forces us to look at the world through a completely new lens. So let's just recap how wild this is. The universe might be part of an endless cycle of cosmic bounces. The wall of the cell is actually a command center. Life has figured out how to write its own genetic code using protein as the ink. And the incredibly complex landscape of our brains is shaped by a whisper-quiet molecular code. And, this is the real beauty of science. It's not a dusty collection of static facts in a textbook. It's a continuous, dynamic process of questioning, challenging, and rewriting what we thought we knew. And it leaves us with one final, very exciting question. If rules this fundamental can be broken, what accepted truth is going to be the next to fall?
Thanks for tuning in to Biligoloji. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode.